The opening ceremony for the 2018 Winter Olympics lit up Pyeongchang on Friday as a huge display of lights and fireworks provided the backdrop to a symbolic quest to find peace. The spectacular display featured child performers, huge puppets, a world record 1,200 drones flown simultaneously, and thousands of dancers in a celebration of Korean history and unity. Inside the area, 30,000 people, including a 200-strong North Korean cheerleading squad, watched in 3°C temperatures as they were encouraged to bang drums given to them in an extreme weather kit to keep warm. The Parade of Nations featured huge flags projected onto the stage for each nation and was capped off when athletes from both North and South entered under a single united flag. South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean ceremonial head of state Kim Jong-nam, who had earlier shaken hands in an historic meeting, clapped and waved in unison as the team entered. Kim Jong-un's sister sits right behind U.S. Vice President Mike Pence at the Winter Olympics. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un's sister was seen enjoying the Winter Olympics opening ceremony in Pyeongchang, South Korea, sitting right behind U.S. Vice President Mike Pence. Kim Yo-jong had taken her seat just feet away from the vice president, behind his wife Karen Pence, after shaking the hand of South Korean President Moon Jae-in as they entered the stadium for the event. Kim Jong-un's younger sister is part of a high-level diplomatic delegation led by the North ceremonial head of state Kim Jong-nam, and she is the first member of Pyongyang's ruling dynasty to set foot in the country since the Korean War. Diplomatic progress? Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong is seen sitting just feet away from U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Karen during the opening ceremony. Kim Jong-nam was earlier seen meeting with President Moon, the two leaders shaking hands ahead of the opening ceremony. President Moon has pushed the Games as a peace Olympics that will open a door for dialogue to alleviate tensions on the peninsula and seek to persuade Pyongyang to give up its atomic ambitions. There is reportedly a good chance that Ms. Kim will invite President Moon to Pyongyang during a lunch on Saturday, CNN reports. Peace Olympics. Kim Yo-jong was seated next to North Korea's ceremonial head of state Kim Jong-nam, behind President Moon and his wife, and Mr. and Mrs. Pence making friends. Ms. Kim is seen shaking hands with President Moon Jae-in ahead of the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang 2018 Winter Olympic Games. Sources told CNN that the potential visit would be sometime this year, and if it goes ahead it would be the first visit from a South Korean president in 11 years. The last member of the Kim family to set foot in Seoul was Yo-jong's grandfather Kim Il-sung, the North's founder, after his forces invaded in 1950 and the capital fell. 3 years later the conflict ended with a ceasefire rather than a peace treaty, leaving the peninsula divided by the heavily fortified demilitarized zone and the two sides technically in a state of war. Sitting alongside them in the world leaders box was Kim Yo-jong, sister of North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, and U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, who were sitting just one row apart. 4 Korean singers then took to the stage to perform Imagine by John Lennon, who were then backed by a film showing street musicians around the world singing the song. The show, directed by Korean actor Song Seung-wan, uses the South Korean flag, the tteokbokki and the traditional jango drum to represent the harmony of yin and yang. South Korea's Royal Marching Band and the Traditional Guard of Honor, both in national dress, wowed the crowd. South Korea's leader proclaimed the Pyeongchang Olympic Games as a path to peace as he opened the games in a spectacular ceremony. President Moon Jae-in told a packed stadium and an international audience of millions in 200 countries that sport had the power to bring reconciliation between East and West. He said, "I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us here in Pyeongchang for the 2018 Olympic Winter Games." The Seoul 1988 Summer Games paved the way for reconciliation between East and West by breaking down the wall of the Cold War. 30 years after hosting the Summer Games, the Pyeongchang Olympic Winter Games has commenced with a hope for peace from everyone around the world. It was with an ardent desire that the people of Korea aspired to host the Olympic Winter Games, as the dream and future of Korea, the only divided nation in the world, mirrors the Olympic spirit in its pursuit of peace. The people of Korea rewrote the history of democracy last year with peaceful and dignified candlelight protests. We have also been very committed in our preparation of the Olympic Games as a festival and celebration of peace. I believe the Olympic flame that opens the Winter Games will illuminate the path of peace for everyone who has traveled to be with us in the beautiful winter wonderland of Korea. This is the start. With passion that will bring supporters and athletes together regardless of outcome. And with the Olympic spirit that seeks peace and a love for humanity, the Winter Games held on the snow and ice here in Pyeongchang, Gangwon Province, will be for everyone to enjoy and celebrate. Team flag bearer Lizzie Yarnold has told how she shed tears of pride as she carried the Union Jack into the arena. She said, "Before I walked out, I was able to see the stadium and there were tears. It means so much to represent the whole team. I loved it." The rival regimes have put aside decades of enmity to celebrate winter sports in the spirit of peace and friendship. The delegation's trip is the diplomatic high point of a games-driven rapprochement between the two Koreas, with the Dovishmoon pushing a peace Olympics that will open a door for dialogue to alleviate tensions and seek to persuade Pyongyang to give up its atomic ambitions. The two Korean states remain in a state of war despite the 1953 ceasefire that split the nation into the communist north and the capitalist south. North Korea has sent a total of 22 athletes over the border to compete in 5 sports, including figure skating, skiing and speed skating. However, the USA remains skeptical of this newfound détente and accused the rogue state of trying to hijack the Olympic Games for his own propaganda. Vice President Mike Pence has sought to concentrate minds by inviting the father of Otto Warmbier, the American student who died a week after he was released from a North Korean jail in a coma last year, to the opening ceremony as his guest. Princess Anne, who represented Team BIN equestrian events at the 1976 Olympic Games at Montreal, and the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres are also guests of honor. Russia remains under scrutiny with the national squad banned from the Olympics following state-sponsored doping. Some 169 individual Russian athletes have been allowed to compete under the Olympic flag, but the Court of Arbitration, CAS, today refused bids from a further 47 to take part. Despite a thawing in international relations, the event is set to be the coldest Olympic Games on record, with daybreak temperatures of below -20°C at the mountain locations and a bitter wind sending the chill factor through the frozen floor. Organizers have laid on special extreme weather kits, including heat pads, a warm seat cushion, bobble hat and raincoat, but the Korean winter will still seep through. The crowd fear they will shiver amid flurries of snow swirling around the open-air stadium as the athletes from the 102 nations, who will compete for medals in 15 different sports, fill the arena. However, Koreans flocked in their thousands to pack the purpose-built 35,000-capacity arena, which will be knocked down after the competition. Squadrons of police and uniformed security agents surrounded the venue, with even a patrol on the frozen river that separates the stadium from the town. Over the next 16 days, the world's fittest, fastest, and fiercest competitors will battle it out on the snow and ice for the coveted prize of reaching the Olympic podium. Team will be out into the arena by flag bearer Lizzie Arnold, who comes to Pyeongchang to defend her Olympic gold she won in the skeleton at Sochi, Britain's first in the snow. But with their poster girl snowboarding sensation Katie Ormerod forced to pull out after breaking her heel and her wrist in practice, Team's 5-medal target now appears a little ambitious. The 20-year-old had a realistic chance of winning 2 medals. However, fielding a 58-strong squad, the biggest ever for a Winter Games, the British athletes are going for gold. Medal hopefuls include short track speed skater Elise Christie, slalom skier Dave Writing, freestyle skiers James Woods and Isabel Atkin, cross-country skier Andrew Musgrave, snowboarder Billy Morgan, and Team's 4 men's and women's curling teams.